Buckle up for another episode of Ghostfacers, a supernatural rewatch podcast. My name is Richard, and sitting shotgun as always is my brother in podcasting, Reed.
You just gotta start the episode without me, man. You gotta do it.
No, I can't do it without you. I can't go on without you.
You can, and you're gonna regret it.
Oh, stop grabbing my wrist. Oh, wait, no. Continue. Ooh. Let's get into it.
Ghostfacers! We face a ghost, when others were not, we're ghosts! Ghostfacers! Stay in the kitchen when the kitchen gets hot! Ghosts! Ghostfacers! We face a nightmare, we face a dread! Ghosts! Ghostfacers! We face a faceless, we face a dead!
Welcome to Ghostfacers. Today we're discussing Season 2, Episode 10.
No.
What? Season 2,
Episode 14.
Nope, Episode 10.
Born Under a Bad Sign?
Born Under a Bad Sign. Is that
episode
not
14?
Oh, did I? Okay, I wrote it. No, man, that's okay. Oh, geez. Oh no, it's because I did them both at the same time. Episode 14, Born Under a Bad Sign. We are joined today by a guest who you may know from their incredible TikTok channel, which is full of supernatural content, most notably the wildly popular sea shanties. God, I've never felt older in my life. Please welcome Laura Bolt. Welcome.
Hi.
Oh my God.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, and this shit storm as it already is.
Hey, at least you didn't mess up her name.
That's true. That is a thing that I've been classically known to do. But I mean that it's a fairly, like, I don't want to say normal name. That seems like I'm heading into bad territory.
I need to just right off the bat.
Yeah.
Because I am just the oldest person
that's ever lived.
That's ever lived.
Yeah.
How did sea shanties come back?
Come back? Yeah, I guess. Yeah, they did come back technically.
You know, I didn't even know what a sea shanty was, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I joined TikTok because the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, why are all these people singing? Like, what's going on here? And I was like, I have a musical theater background. I'm like, I'm just gonna try it, see what sticks. And the Supernatural fam is crazy in the best way.
Yeah.
So they were like, this is perfect. So let's do this. I was like, all right, okay, this is what we're doing. This is my channel now.
It really was like perfect for you with like a musical theater background and then connecting that into Supernatural. I mean, I never knew that it would be so perfectly matched.
It also just feels right for Supernatural. I don't know. There's something very kind of like, I don't know, epic about these like adventuring lads or whatever. It feels like it's cut out for sea shanties.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Your video, your sea shanties were the thing that got me into TikTok. I found it posted through one of the Supernatural Facebook pages I'm attached to, because I'm attached to multiple.
Of course.
And somebody had posted your video, and then I was just like, well, I guess I'm finally going to get into TikTok.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, those are awesome. But I mean, the thing that we haven't even talked about yet, which is you actually got members of Supernatural. I mean, we haven't gotten to those characters yet on the show, but you had like Jody and Donna do videos. The actual actors, Kim Rhodes and Brianna. The last
Buckmaster.
Name. Yeah, Buckmaster.
Yes,
That's
Yeah.
it. That's it. Talk me through that.
Okay, so it was quite a trip, because I just, I make them for fun, these videos, right? And I just, come up with the lyrics, whatever. And I think, maybe the Supernatural fam is going to see it. It's going to be fun, whatever, a good time. I woke up, when I tell you, I had so many notifications. I was like, what is going on? Like, my first thought was like, oh no, did I say something wrong? Like, what did I do?
Been canceled.
And everybody's tagging me in this video. And I'm like, wait, Kim, like Kim Rhodes, Kim. And then, like, of course, my like millennial, like Disney Channel brain, I was like, that's Zach and Cody's mom. Like, I didn't even.
Wait, is that who that is?
Yeah. So it's so funny, because like my first thought was, I was like, oh, that. And then I was like, oh, duh, Supernatural. Like, how could I, anyway, it was
That's
just such a crazy thing. And so everybody was tagging me in it. And I, of course, freaked out. I was like, how is this real life? Like, she's seen my face. She knows that I'm a human person, like singing about Supernatural, And then Brianna did it too. And then her like little caption on the bottom, Brianna's was Supernatural the musical. And so of course I freaked
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's incredible.
That's
also,
so cool.
we need to make Supernatural the musical happen.
Yeah.
100%. That's a thing that needs to happen right away.
Get Chris Leonard's back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, Brianna can sing.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Oh my God, I know, right?
That
She actually has a background in musical theater too. I found that out when I was like researching. I was like, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, 100%. Oh my God, that's so cool. So maybe now I'd love to know just about your history with Supernatural. Like, when did you get into the show, and sort of how did that happen? And
yeah, of course. So I have been watching since maybe season 2 or 3 when it was on the WB as it was back then, right? So back in the day, I've always loved like scary stuff and horror and all of that. And a friend of mine was getting into it, and she was really, really into it. And before I even watched the show, she actually had, it's like a D&D version of Supernatural, like the role-playing game.
What?
Yeah, it exists. It exists, and it's amazing, right? So she's like, I've been watching this show. You don't have to watch it yet, but I want you to play this game with me. So that was my introduction to Supernatural. You get to like choose your, you make your character like in D&D, right? So you choose, you can be a hunter, you could be a demon, you could be whatever. Make your stats. And I was like, okay, like I'm hooked. I'm going to watch this show. And I guess the rest is history. I just became obsessed ever since. So
that's outrageous. Yeah. We would never see our families again if we started
that's
playing.
True. Yeah, that would be a problem if we got into that show. Let's do it.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I think the role-playing game was it only goes up to like season 4 or 5, like in the lore, because they stopped like making it after that. And it's hard to find now too. I was looking for it on Amazon, and like they don't make it anymore. They don't publish it anymore, which is like really sad. But but it still exists. It's out there. It's really cool.
Time
it's really
to mobilize
if you're
the
into that kind of
Ghostfacers
thing.
fans.
That's
Ghostfacers fans. If any of you have this game,
yes, that's time to finally activate them. That's incredible. All I want to do is do that. Also, that's the nerdiest way to get into Supernatural.
I love that.
I really appreciate.
I love that.
Hello, I'm Laura. I'm a giant nerd. Like,
not like us, cool guys.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk a bit about this episode, which aired February 8th, 2007. I know that is correct. That is real information that I know is correct.
I'm going to have to take your word for it.
I know. I'm questioning everything I've written now. Yeah. Written by Catherine Humphreys.
You made notes about an episode of Supernatural, right? Not like just season 2, episode 14.
So Picard walks up to the bridge. Directed by J. Miller Tobin. Viewed by an estimated 2.84 million viewers. This is a
I don't think this show's going to make it.
No, I don't think so. This is it. This is the drop off. It's a huge jump compared to what it normally is.
It's normally just over 3.
Yeah. We usually get 3.5
so far.
4 is like 5 is like the closest we've ever gotten to sort of like really high numbers. But I was listening to a side tangent. I was listening to a podcast yesterday with George Clooney, who was talking about when he was on ER, and their numbers were 48 million.
I mean, that's unheard of. I don't think the Super Bowl gets that anymore.
Isn't that crazy? I was like, oh my
48 million people would watch ER?
Yeah.
That's outrageous.
Isn't that insane? Yeah. That blew my mind. When now like 5 million is like a crazy number. Yeah.
I just thought like The Flash is doing well and keeps getting renewed, and its like most recent episode is under 1 million.
What?
Yeah. It's like 900,000 or something. And they're like, yeah, the show's going great. Like the bar has changed so drastically from that time.
That's crazy. That's really crazy. Let's get to the part that we always love.
All right.
International titles.
Right. So this episode is Born Under a Bad Sign, which is a song title.
Yeah, it's a song by Albert King.
Yeah.
Which is it's a reference to that song. But it's a song. But I mean, it's a kind of a weird name, right? Like
I could see this one being a weird one in translations.
Yeah. Let's talk about who got it right.
Okay.
Who got the closest?
Brazil, probably.
Brazil got it. Yeah. Brazil, Born Under a Bad Sign, nailed it.
Okay.
Germany got it fairly close.
Sure.
Under a Bad Star, which
that works.
I don't really get it.
It's like the Walmart brand.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You want to go under bad star? It's,
that's
it's just the same as sign. It's just
born
the
under
same
a bad
as
sign.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Polish, very similar to German.
Like under a bad sign.
Born under
a
dark
street
star.
sign. Oh, okay. Under a dark star.
Yeah. So bad, dark. I get where they're headed with it.
Yeah.
Hungry.
Oh. Blackout fist fight.
It's actually 2 words.
Okay. I mean, so was mine. So
we got bad blood. It is bad blood. That's it.
they call it bad blood.
Bad blood.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Not exactly applicable.
No, it doesn't. I don't really get it at all.
Interesting.
I mean, maybe the whole Sam, like, being like blood guy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
you're
fair.
smart. That makes sense. We're
That's fair.
stupid. The French is one word.
Possession.
It's possessed.
Oh,
Whoa.
We just want you to
the
know.
Nailed
French,
it.
the French are so literal with their titles, and they also don't give a shit about spoilers.
Yeah,
Every French title has just
Before
Oh,
you
no.
said what the episode
before
is.
you even watch this, just know he's possessed. Don't be concerned.
It undercuts all the like tension of the
Yeah.
first half of the episode.
Like, did he actually do these things? Don't worry, he's possessed.
Everyone in France is just like, I don't see what people see in this show.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
Wild.
Every single time. We've got 2 more though.
Okay.
Finish.
Oh God.
This one makes no fucking sense.
Danger break.
How did you know?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, starring Keanu Reeves.
Oh yeah.
The Finnish title is Abandoned by Luck.
I mean, that's also not true.
No, it has nothing to do with luck.
No.
That should be the title for Bad Day at Black Rock.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Yeah.
Do they call the Bad Day at Black Rock? They call it like Sam is possessed or something. they fucked it up.
Yeah, that's it. The final title. Who are we missing?
Yeah, who are we missing? We already did Hungary and Finland. Oh, Italy.
That's right.
Italy's got a good one.
Italy's. This is interesting because it's not the most crazy, but it made me laugh. It is called The Two Faces of Sam.
Oh, all right.
All right.
It's just like, yeah,
Sure.
that's a
Sure.
softball.
Yeah, way to go, Italy.
Yeah,
Really half mile in it.
it's very funny. I was like, yeah, sure, I guess. I mean, it's not really his face, but sure, yeah. Very
Yeah.
interesting.
Some weird one.
Yeah. Let's get into today's featured music. We've got some great ones in this. We've got Ashes to Ashes by Tarbox Ramblers. We've got The Crystal Ship by The Doors.
Yeah.
Great song.
Great song. Really well used in this. We got Back on the Road Again by REO Speedwagon.
Love me some Speedwagon.
And then, of course, Born on a Bad Under a Bad Sign by Albert King.
That's right.
Great ones in this.
It's a very
episode.
solid episode.
Yeah. We're actually getting like, some solid soundtracks. We got some episodes around this time that actually had no soundtrack. So
Yeah.
besides the score, I think it's pretty cool to have one that actually starts getting back into what we were used to from the show, the classic rock. stuff
Yeah,
like
totally.
that. TV Guide describes this episode as Sam has been missing for more than a week, and Dean finds him covered in blood and unable to remember what happened. While they're trying to figure it out, they find a tape that shows Sam killing another hunter in cold blood, making him think his evil side is taking over. Jacques.
Making him think
Oh.
he's been abandoned by luck.
I mean, now I get that makes so much more sense now. Now I
I'm
get
going to
it.
see how many more times I can work that.
Yeah. Oh, good. Yeah. This is going to be seamless. Let's get into the episode, but before we do, why don't we talk about some of the real world lore in today's monster? Let's open up Dad's journal.
Yeah, let's see what the lore says about blackouts.
Oh, just like the idea of blacking out.
Yeah.
I mean, we could just talk about
There
like,
is
early
lore about blacking out.
20s. Okay, from like supernatural standpoint.
Both.
Okay.
All right.
Sure. Let's
So,
get into it.
Blacking out generally refers to any period of time in which a person is conscious and active, but is not properly or accurately making or storing or accessing memories.
You've had some like blackout moments in your 20s, eh?
I mean, that's a
Haven't
long.
we all?
That was a long time ago.
Waking up in some ditches outside of the town.
Only a few.
I only have like one specific.
I made it out. I'm a father now.
That's true. There's only one specific story for me. Is I remember I had like gone through a really bad breakup, and I was living with some friends at the time, and I came home and they were older than me. It was like a couple, and they were like, "Hey, if like why don't we just get you drunk? That'll be a fun way to spend the night."
Older couple said that?
Well, not that much older. They were like I went to high school with them. They were seniors. I was.
Oh, sorry. I was picturing like
Hey!
like Ma and Pa Kent. Like I was
You know what?
picturing, like
Don't worry about what that lady did to you. We're just gonna get you drunk and have a great night.
yeah, I thought it. Sorry, I'm following.
Yeah. No, it was just some old friends who were a few years older than me, and they were a couple, and they were like, "Well, we'll get you drunk." And so I remember starting to get drunk, and then I really don't remember anything, but I remember the next day getting up, walking throughout the house, and there was just like piles of throw up everywhere, and I remember like being like, "Well, I'm not cleaning this up." It specifically was just like, I don't know who did this, but I'm not cleaning
But
this.
it wasn't me.
Yeah,
and I will
I-
fix it.
It was like the first time I'd ever like
Who
gotten.
did this?
Yeah. It's like, well, who made this big mess? Yeah, big problem.
Wow.
I did not want to do the 10-second tidy. It was not good.
Jeez Louise.
Oh my God, big comfy couch.
Yes, thank you. Oh, good. I'm glad. Yeah, that was my big major. So I
woke up in a trunk once.
like locked.
Yeah, like of a car.
Okay, Crowley.
Oh God, I wish.
How?
If you're gonna ask me how I got there, the answer is tied to this, and it's I don't know.
Did you just like? Not, but did someone immediately let you out? Like, were they around?
Oh no, like the seat was down.
Oh, okay.
I was just in the trunk space.
okay. I was concerned that there was like a taken situation.
I mean, it might
Sounds
have
like you were abandoned by luck.
oh,
Oh,
my God! Time to see the two faces of Reed.
that's incredible.
So blackouts. So blackouts can happen in a couple of different ways, either like en bloc, which means like a complete gap in memory after like a certain point.
Yeah.
Or fragmentary, meaning that like certain sporadic events are recalled, but others are not. And the person might be unaware that they're missing the interim pieces.
Okay.
So there's various scenarios that can induce blackout state. So the most common example is what we've been talking about, which is an alcohol-based blackout.
Yes.
So, or drugs or whatever. So it's usually caused by like a rapid increase in blood alcohol concentration, or it's essentially just it's a very quick shift in like the quality of blood reaching your brain. There's a common misconception that it only happens to alcoholics, and that's just like not true.
Yeah, that's right. It's not true.
Mom. The reason it's possible is that apparently most parts of the brain can develop like a certain degree of tolerance to alcohol, but the hippocampus, which is responsible for forming memories, cannot. It just will never develop a tolerance. Which is why someone can be active and talking and doing things and singing and dancing and not making any memories.
I went to this really cool college. It was a really hippocampus.
There's this sleepaway place where like displaced African mammals go for fun, but it's in the continental United States. It's Hippocamp US. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
How dare you?
Oh.
But that's how that works. There's a thing called psychogenic amnesia, which is a form of retroactive amnesia. So the first one, the alcohol one, is a thing called like anterograde amnesia, which means that at a certain point you stop making memories, which is why you don't remember anything. Retrograde amnesia is the memories have been made, but you can't access them.
Oh,
so that's
is this like when you're not around your family, you stop making memories?
Yeah, they like I need to make sure that my wife like holds a picture of me in front of our child.
That's in the cradle.
Yeah, because I'm here recording this podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
So Sorry, that just got me. So it's a form of retroactive amnesia. It seems to be like to specifically impact like personal information and identity. It's kind of like the fugue state thing that they fake in Breaking Bad.
Yes,
that would be like a form of like a retro,
or like Memento.
Yeah. I mean, I think. Yeah, I mean, without being a psychologist, I think Memento also has the thing where I think there's also the anterograde thing because he doesn't make new short-term memories, I don't think, right? So I think it might be slightly a bit of both.
A 51st date situation.
Yes. This is where my lack of like psychology training is. This really shows that I fell asleep in Psych 101.
Yeah, I always told you it was going to come back to bite you.
Yeah, here it is. There's also things like what could cause that might be like structural damage in the brain or things like that. There's other types of blacking out like syncope or fainting or like, again, anytime that there's like a reduction in quantity or quality of blood in your brain, it could happen.
Maybe like bad blood.
That's what they were talking about.
Oh.
But yeah, I mean, the interesting thing is that supernaturally, there's a little bit of like discrepancy in terms of the accounts of people possessed by demons. Some people claim they remember nothing.
Yeah.
That they have blacked out, that when they're possessed, they have no recollection of what they did or what they said or anything like that. And there's other people who claim that they were like conscious while it was happening, but unable to stop or change it.
Yeah.
You know, like the scientific explanation would be that there are different like hallucinations or dissociative identity things or whatever. But yeah, it's funny because it's sometimes when we get into like the supernatural side of it, there's like a real concrete, everyone basically agrees this is how it works. But for demon possession, that isn't true. Some people say they black out and some don't.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, don't they say that sometimes it's up to the demon? Like if the demon is really sadistic, they make them like watch it.
Yeah.
Whereas other times they'll just be like, no, I'm taking over.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I guess it just, if they want to be sneaky or if, you know, which form of torture is greater, like making someone not remember where they were or what they did and making them question themselves or making them know
watch
precisely
everything.
What they did.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Wow. That's blacking out. I didn't think
Listen, we're halfway through season 2. I'm running out of lore.
Yeah. You got nothing left. Yeah. The next episode's what does the lore say about
TV?
Yeah. Well, with that, why don't we get into talking about today's episode? This episode begins right away with Dean standing on the passenger side of the Impala, parked under a bridge. We know we get a lot of under the bridge shots throughout Supernatural.
I think there's 2 or 3 bridges in Vancouver they use for these.
Yeah, pretty often. Besides that, like finale bridge, which now I find everybody's like talking about all the time.
Oh yeah,
like it's showing up on a bunch of other shows. So he's on the phone with Ellen, asking her if she has heard from Sam. Dean is desperately trying to reach Sam on his phone, and all he's getting is his voicemail.
Yeah.
He doesn't know where Sam went or why. Sam clicks in on the other line in a panic. After calming down, Dean floors the Impala and drives to the motel Sam's been staying at in Twin Lakes. Dean arrives at the motel to find Sam covered in blood. Dean is at first terrified that Sam is hurt, then demands to know what the hell happened, but Sam doesn't remember anything.
Yeah, we find out that it's not Sam's blood, because Dean is like, holy shit, like, Sam, are you injured? But it's like, there's nothing under
the shirt.
It's just on his shirt.
Yeah.
And even Sam's like, I don't think this is my blood.
Yeah. Like, let's keep looking under the shirt, though.
Easy. That's the fanfic coming out.
Oh, shoot. Sorry. Again, wrong file. So Sam checks into the hotel 2 days ago, apparently, under the name of Richard Sambora.
Doesn't Dean make a crack about being a Bon Jovi fan?
Yeah, because that's the guitarist.
Yeah, he's like, really?
Yeah.
When we all know that, like, Sam's more of like a postal service kind of guy, anyways.
Oh yeah, I think Sam listens to a lot of Iron and Wine.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
That suits him.
Yeah. The room has been quiet and no one has noticed anything unusual. The last thing Sam remembers is the two of them at the hotel in West Texas over a week ago going to grab burgers. The next thing he knew, he was here. Sam doesn't know how he got there. He feels like he has been asleep for months. The boys decide to retrace every step Sam made. So Dean tells Sam that the manager saw him leave the room yesterday afternoon but didn't return. Looking over at the window, Dean notices more dried blood on the window lock of someone who stayed over.
Well, yeah, so that's how Sam got back in without being seen as he climbed in through the window.
Exactly.
I will say, I harp on him a lot on this show. I think Jared does a good job in this episode of playing like kind of scared. I don't know what I did.
That's true.
Yeah. I agree. Like, I love when we have these episodes where the boys are playing somebody that's not themselves, whether it's a demon or they're possessed by somebody or doing something else or whatever else. I love getting to see like the different sides of their acting. Yeah. And I think this is one of the first ones where we kind of see that, especially with Jared, right?
Yeah.
So, and we're not quite at the scene yet, but like, I do think he does a good job of the, like, someone who is about to burst into tears, but is like trying to keep the lid on it. I think he's doing a pretty good job of that in this episode. I normally really rag on him because Jensen is the better at that, but I think he's doing well. This is a good Jared episode.
It is. It's pretty decent. Yeah. And actually giving him the chance to like be sort of the lead here.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Because Sam's always the straight man too, right? Like Dean is the one that's got the anger, and Dean is the one that's got like the chicks. And
yes.
Sam is just like, I read a book. Here's what we should do. Like,
fair. Yeah. So we're outside the motel now, looking at the storage lots across the street. Sam recognizes the door number 2 as being familiar. Reaching into his pocket, Sam pulls out a key to the lock on the door. So now we're seeing like some stuff had happened last night. It's not like, or in the last few days even, like it's not as though he just sort of like fell asleep somewhere and woke up. Like we're now realizing
he's been up to something.
Yeah.
Yeah, they open that storage locker. There's like an old like beetle in there, and Dean's like, "Tell me you didn't steal this." But like the way Dean says it, he's like, "Don't tell me you stole something." You say like, "Tell me you didn't steal this."
Like, the disgust, the pure disgust in his voice. Unacceptable, Sam.
What's funny too is that is actually the same beetle that's used for episode 10, the VW that what's her name drives. Alva, what's her name?
Ava,
that's it. Yeah, it's the same blue beetle that she drives.
Interesting.
Which I thought was kind of cool. So at this point, they open the door, find the Volkswagen Beetle with blood on the steering wheel, and the knife is like stuck in the back, stuck with the blood. It's a good little effect. Yeah, it's gross. Yeah. In the back seat, they find the knife's covered in blood, along with a pack of cigarettes on the floor. Yeah, menthols. And Dean's like, I don't think this is, because the whole time Dean is like, this isn't you. And Sam's like, I'm going evil, just like Dad said. And Dean is like, you don't smoke menthols. You don't smoke, period. Yeah. Like, more importantly. Yes, Sam reaches into his pocket and finds a receipt from a gas station a couple towns over. Right. So they head to I love the idea that the demon, right, was like, oh, receipt. Okay, I'm going to hang on to this. That's very funny. You know? Especially because when we get there, the guy at the gas station is like, this person came in, like he's like looking at Sam. He's like, you came in yesterday, you just took a 40, started drinking it, took cigarettes, you were being belligerent, blah, blah, blah. It's like, you demand a receipt? But they paid for gas and got a receipt? Yeah. Or maybe it's just like the machine spits the receipt out and you're supposed to take it to the till or something. But like, I don't know how the receipt got there. That's very funny. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, I was thinking, I'm glad you brought that up, because I was like, wait a minute, hang on. This will be great around tax season. I'm a monster, but I'm not an idiot. Yeah, I found this gas receipt in with a
bunch of 401k information. Looks like they were getting ready to file.
Yeah. He also started a U-File account? I don't understand. That's really funny. So Sam and Dean walk inside, and of course, like we said, immediately recognized by the cashier, who demands that they basically leave or he's going to call the cops. He said he came in yesterday drunk as a skunk, grabbed a 40 from the fridge, started chugging, also grabbed 2 packs of cigarettes and was smoking like a chimney.
Which is, I mean, listen, illegal, but cool as hell.
And like, I would have just loved to see a quick little flashback of like chain smoker Sam being like, "Hi, I'm Sam. I'm a hunter." Like,
this is one of those rare instances where Supernatural could use like Family Guy style cutaways.
Yes. I would love that. Dean pays the guy for the booze and the smokes. So wait. So he got a receipt, but didn't actually pay for it?
This is what I mean. He paid for some, but not all the things.
He's like, let me just
paid
get
for the gas.
First. Yeah.
So he's drinking the Colt 45.
And he's like, you got to pay for both
smoking
those.
cigs inside, and he's like, pump 3. And he's like ringing it up. He's like, "Oh, I won't."
And then he
pay
throws the bottle at the guy's head, right?
Yeah.
Like he's just like,
like,
"Thanks
"Oh,
for the receipt.
I won't be
Smash."
paying for these." Yeah.
That's very funny. No, it's for taxes. I'm gonna put it on a separate receipt. He actually did.
Yeah, he has like a company fleet card he was using. Yeah.
It's a Demons company card.
This cashier,
yeah,
does the quickest heel turn, I think, in all of Supernatural. Because you go in and you're like, wow, this guy was terrorized the other day.
Yeah.
Holy cow, like, we got to figure out what Sam did and like what happened. And as soon as Sam leaves, because Dean's like, you go wait at the car.
Yeah.
And then Dean is like, you got to tell me what happened. And this guy's like, oh, I got to tell you. And then Dean is like, I'll pay for this stuff. And he's like, oh, it's coming back to me. He got 2 packs. He starts like fleecing Dean. It's like, what the fuck is your problem? It's like,
that is very
he
funny.
goes from victim to complete douchebag in like 3 seconds.
Also, is he the owner of the gas station? Like, why does he care so much about the getting paid back for the things that were taken?
Well, I don't think he does. I think Dean is like, this will cover it. He's like, I'll just, I've already reported that stuff stolen. I'll just take this.
Fair. Fair. Okay. But he does say that Dean that he went north up Route 71.
Yeah.
That's sort of the information we finally get out of this. So the guys head up north on the interstate when Sam suddenly orders Dean to make a right onto the side road, leading them into a dark, unlit house without security camera or with security cameras.
Yeah.
Yeah. More important that there is every house has security cameras. This one didn't have it. No. This one did have security cameras. Yeah. Important note. Walking up to the door, they see one of the windows smashed open and the power to the alarm systems are cut off. Uh-oh.
Yeah, whoever did this was a professional.
That's right. Upon entering, the boys discover a dead body on the floor in one of the rooms. A bloody gash across his throat.
It's a good special effects.
Yeah, though
he looks gross.
There's a moment where they like flip the body over and you can clearly see the guy's breathing.
yeah.
But yeah, I love in like the earlier seasons, like seasons 1, 2, 3, like the gore is so much better. Like it just looks better. It's more scary.
Yeah, they do a lot more practical effects. I think it was sort of even
a few episodes ago, the like flash of Sam dying in that explosion. There's like some good like like stuff going on.
Yeah, they do some really good balance between practical and digital effects and stuff. Something we'll get into at the end of this season.
I was going to say though that like as someone who has been an actor, it's really hard to look like you're not breathing when clearly you must be breathing.
Absolutely.
It's tough. It was just like, that was the best take they got, right? Like they probably had other ones where it didn't look like he was breathing, but the light was wrong or someone was blocked weird or whatever. They're like, we got to use this one, but we know that Gary took a breath in here. They're just like,
God damn it, Gary.
It must be easier to like, if you're like, have like a flat stomach. Cause I feel like the biggest problem is just like, if you have any stomach, it's like lifting the sheet or like the blanket up.
I actually think it's harder if you don't have extra fat and stuff.
Really?
Like yeah. Because then you can't like suck your gut. Like you can kind of compensate by like breathing in and sucking your gut in at the same time to like equalize a little bit.
That's you are an actor.
Listen, I know how to act while fat.
It's called fact.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sam believes that he did this, but Dean says that that if Sam killed this guy, there must have been a reason, like self-defense, or maybe he was just a bad son of a bitch.
Yeah. Yeah. Dean is
Classic
really.
Dean.
Yeah. Dean is really reaching at this point. He's like, I like that Dean is like, maybe he attacked you first, like ignoring the fact that like we're in his house.
Yeah.
Like, Sam, what if you just smashed a window, cut the power, came into this guy's house, and then he attacked you? This was self-defense.
No, the guy cut his own his own communication off, found Sam walking down the street, grabbed him, threw him through a window.
Yeah, you can stand your ground in someone else's house, right?
Yeah. Picking open the lock on the closet, Sam and Dean find a wall of weapons, photographs of missing people, and articles about supernatural creatures, concluding
and like runes and stuff.
Yeah, concluding that this man is either a serial killer or a hunter.
Which is like, what an indictment of the hunter society that like it's 50-50.
Yeah, it's like, unless you're seeing like a ghost in there somewhere, you're basically like, oh, this guy's just killing people. Like,
yeah. This isn't our kind of job, Sammy. This guy's just killing people.
Oh, wait. I think that's actually a Reaper. No, we're good. All
right,
I always wanted an episode where they just accidentally, like it was just a serial killer. Like I wish that was an episode that had happened.
They get close.
Yeah, I mean, there's the Benders in first season, but they get kidnapped. Yeah. It's a little less like that.
It's not like them like mistaken identity and they quickly figure it out. But there's not like a situation where it's literally just a psychopath.
There's a couple of little instances where there's like sort of turns like that, but it is I mean, I guess you have to draw the line somewhere, but it is funny that they'll comb through the papers and they'll be like, oh, unsolved murder, and be like, that's not for us, even though we have all the skills to solve it. Nope. Look.
That's really funny. So now the boys take a look at the security tape because we know that there's security cameras everywhere. So they look. They go to this room where and find the security tape and find out that there's Sam definitely came in here looking like a maniac.
It's pretty brutal,
throwing a few rounds of punches at the guy. The video then shows him dragging the guy into the middle of the room and just like cutting his throat like brutally. Yeah. Sam stares at the screen in shock, guilt, and resignation.
Yeah.
Woof.
It's pretty brutal. It's pretty aggressive little piece of fight choreo.
It is. And I think that's when the audience is kind of like, oh yeah, this like definitely isn't Sam, because he was like enjoying it, right? On that video, you could tell.
Yeah. Definitely.
But his hair looks great.
Oh,
in that video.
and I was enjoying watching that video.
No, I mean, because he also doesn't hesitate. It's not like you see the guy like begging and then Sam kind of does it. It's just like, it's pretty quick, pretty dirty, and he's out of there.
Yeah, not good.
Yeah.
Dean says they got to split because there's going to be other hunters that are going to be coming now, like, and they've got to cover their tracks because hunters are going to be here and they'll be able to sense all the signs. Like, they really have to protect, because it's like less about like police. They're like, yeah, police, whatever. But like, if hunters show up, they're going to find us.
Yeah,
which is interesting. So they wipe off all their prints, and Dean grabs the computer and smashes it on the floor.
Well, and they're already on the like defensive about hunters because of the stuff with Gordon and there being like a leak or something at Harvell's.
Yeah.
Like they're already kind of edgy about that. So the fact that Sam just fully killed a hunter is like not great.
Whoops.
Yeah.
Yeah, not really helping their cred in the community for sure.
He's a good guy.
Yeah. So they go back to the motel. Dean is trying to reassure Sam that it wasn't him, that it might have been another shapeshifter or something like that, right? He's really grasping at straws at this point.
Yeah, he's like, what if it was a shapeshifter? What if someone switched the tapes? What if
fake news. It was what's the face swap thing? Anything to...
I actually can't remember what it's called.
No, me either.
What's the face?
The way that like Dean reacts to Sam doing things wrong always reminds me of that scene from Parks and Rec where she's like, I Mona Lisa, whatever her name is, where she's like, I have never done anything wrong ever in my life. And the dad's like, I know this and I love you. Like that's Dean and Sam.
Money, please.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah,
That's very funny.
yeah, because he's the worst.
Solid John Ralphio. So Sam tells Dean that over the past couple of weeks, he's been having feelings of rage and hate that he can't control. Day by day,
Dean's like, I live with that literally every day. That sounds fine.
yeah. What is that? Is that not a good thing to have?
Am I not supposed to just succumb to the rage in my heart?
Yeah. And he's been having a lot of feelings of rage and hate that he can't control. So day by day, these feelings have been getting worse, and he feels that his evil side is finally taking over.
Yeah, and he's like, you gotta put me down, man. You gotta do it. You gotta do what Dad said. He's like giving Dean a gun. This is the scene I was talking about where I think Jared is doing good work here.
Yes.
Like where he's trying to like not cry and stay strong and be like, I need you to do this for me. But he's doing all these like involuntary, like I'm about to start bawling. Like, I think this is really good stuff out of Jared,
and much better than when in episode 10 when Dean tells him that his dad said he had to kill him.
Oh yeah, that very bad Jared acting. Yeah, that one.
He gets that classic like Jared like
Dean.
Yeah. What do you mean?
Yeah, it's true. This is the exact opposite kind of.
Yeah, you're not getting Jerry Pouty face there.
Yeah, he's doing good stuff here.
Definitely. And he basically is just like, he's like, you need to do it. And Dean basically says that he'd rather die than kill his brother, and then walks away.
Yeah, well, he said I'd rather die, and then Sam,
he just goes, no.
Well, Sam says like, no, you'll live, and then he turns around and says, you'll live to regret this, and he pistol whips Dean and knocks him out.
Yeah,
like, burn. Shit.
That's solid burn. Yeah.
I'll give it a B. It's a pretty good line. It's a B.
But God, I always think about like the smash cut thing. Lost is the worst for it, but the like knocking people out constantly just to like go to the next scene. Like
I do love the idea in all of these shows, anything with any sort of action or whatever. It's like, if you after 15 seasons looked at how many times Dean got knocked out, he'd be like catatonic. Like he'd have Seriously. Like the craziest case of CTE. He'd be like
yeah, that's actually.
I think somebody on Tumblr did like a count of how many times they had head trauma.
Yeah,
ridiculous. Like throughout the whole series.
Even if you take angel healings into account, I don't think Dean's coming out of that okay.
No.
Yeah, you're not fixing that. Nope.
No.
That's actually his whole anger problem. His ex is just in CTE.
Dean is actually very happy-go-lucky. He just keeps getting knocked out.
Yeah, that's it. Basically, Dean gets knocked out and Sam storms out. Dean wakes up on the floor the next day to pounding on the door. It's the manager telling that it's past checkout. Dean asks the manager if he has seen Sam and says that Sam left this morning before dawn in the Impala.
I love the unnecessary detail in this moment of the hotel manager is like, it's way past your checkout. Dean has just woken up and he's like, I got this fucking state senator who needs to slam a hooker in your room. It's like, Dean's like,
he's like, I bet they do.
Yeah, but it's like, there's no other room. It's also 12:30. It's the middle of the day. We just established what time it was. This guy is like, I gotta get back to work after this. Like,
that's very funny.
It's such a weird, unnecessary detail. It's so funny to me. I laughed so hard watching that.
That is really funny. So Dean asks the manager if he can use his computer. The manager only agrees after Dean hands him a wad of $100 bills. After activating the GPS on Sam's phone, Dean finds out that Sam went to Duluth, Minnesota. When Dean is on the website to locate Sam via the GPS, he is logged in as Dean J. Mahagoff.
Okay. Oh.
All right.
That's a dirtbag Dean moment for sure.
Very much. Yeah.
J. Mahagoff.
Yeah, it's the same login I use for Bustiation.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
I also love that he was like, oh, my son went to a Justin Timberlake concert. It's little moments like that I'm like, oh yeah, this show was really popular in like 2006.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a funny, it's a weird little moment of dialogue where he says that my son snuck out last night to go to a Justin Timberlake concert, and then he goes, what? Oh yes, he's a fine triple threat young talent. Like the person he's talking to on the phone is like a huge JT fan.
That's really funny.
Everybody loved JT in 2006, right? Like,
I mean, that was Sexy Back.
That is, yeah.
Sexy Back had only just come out like months earlier.
Yeah. I mean, it was a solid record.
Yeah.
Though I did watch that Britney Spears documentary, and they did not paint him in a good light.
No.
Yeah. Yikes.
You remember the song Future Sex Love Sounds?
Yeah.
That was the name of the song.
Yeah. Weird.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry,
it's
just
a weird time.
yeah.
So we end up at the local bar in Duluth, Minnesota.
That was my first year of university.
Really?
Sexy Back was huge on my frosh week. It was insane.
And you were like, yeah, I'm bringing sexy back.
I mean, at the time,
You were.
I was young. I was sexy. Not now.
Yeah. What happened?
Well, time.
No, you did that to yourself. Sam enters the bar and we see Joe, who is very surprised to see Sam. When inquiring what he's doing there, Sam replies that he wants to square things off, telling her that her dad's death was not his or Dean's fault. Like, it goes right into that too. Like, immediately, like, I'm here because the whole dad's death thing.
Yeah. This scene, again, I think Jared's doing some good work in this episode because this scene is
Definitely.
so
Uncomfortable. Yeah.
It's like uncomfortable, but in like a sexy kind of way. And I hate that I just said that, but
Look, this is a safe place to admit all of our weird things regarding the guys and everybody else. Yeah, because we haven't shown up when Ellen gets there. And
Ellen.
Sorry. She is keen to talk about Dean, but Sam informs her that while Dean does like her, it's not in a romantic way at all.
This is the creepy turn because Sam
holding her hand.
Sam is clearly acting odd, obviously, but he's saying like, you know, it wasn't our dad's fault. He's still kind of being Sam-ish.
Yeah.
And then as soon as she mentions Dean, he goes, "Nah, you're really carrying a torch for him, huh? Like, he's not gonna do anything. He thinks you're a sister. He's not gonna hit on you," or like he just turns.
And I don't care if you're like a sister.
Yeah. Then he
Gross.
like grabs her wrist in a very uncomfortable way.
Yeah. She's getting super
Uncomfortable / sexy, I guess, depending on how you watch it.
it's a fine line.
Joe is getting freaked out. Sam is behaving nothing like the man she knows, and she asked him to leave. But there's a glimmer in her eye.
Jesus. Stop reading the fanfic.
I'm sorry. I apologize. Sam starts walking out the door, but turns around and physically overcomes her. Uh-oh.
I mean,
and also,
who couldn't he physically overcome?
I'd like to find
He's
out.
like 12 feet tall, so.
Yeah. And 12 feet wide.
Oh, no. Just a square.
Yeah.
Just a Euclidean square.
Just a meat square.
Ew.
He slams her head against the bar and knocks her unconscious.
Yeah, that's a rough one.
Yeah, not great. Joe awakens to find herself tied to a weight-bearing post.
Yeah.
And this is when that Doors song comes on, and it's just it's the perfect transition.
Yeah,
I loved that with the record going on. Oh my god, perfect.
Really, really good.
Yeah, and this is like the sort of psychological torture bit because now Sam is saying like, "I know how your dad really died," and all this kind of stuff.
I thought he was gonna be like, "I know you wanted to hear Riders on the Storm, but not today." No.
Does the Mulaney bit where he just puts on What's New Pussycat like 7 times in a row?
That's good. Joe starts to realize that she is not dealing with the real Sam and tells him that. Sam tells her that she shouldn't be so sure. He makes use of the time by asking her what Ellen had told her about her father, Bill. With a knife held to her face, Joe says that their dads were in California at the Devil's Gate Reservoir, setting a trap for a hellspawn. John was hiding and Bill was the bait.
Yeah, and she says, and like John kind of blew it, and the hellspawn killed Bill, and then Sam reveals that the hellspawn just maimed him horribly, and he was like holding his guts and stuff, and then John like put him down basically.
Yeah, but he does that sing-song thing, which was kind of freaky, where he's like, "My daddy shot your daddy in the head."
Yeah, it's
well done. It's a version that
okay.
You really
now
don't see
I have
him.
to admit something. Him doing the creepy sing-songy thing was
a trigger for you. Yeah?
a little.
But I'm right there with you.
I don't know why. It's just a feeling.
That line always makes me laugh. Like, I know it's supposed to be serious, but I think it's like the uncomfortable laugh where, like, when he says that, I'm like, oh God.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think what I really just want is Jared to like threateningly, quietly sing stuff to me.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like in kind of a menacing way.
Yeah,
There's a bit of an edge to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I know what to get you for your birthday.
I mean, a cameo, the weirdest cameo he's ever done.
No, I'm gonna get him here. Joe is horrified and asks Sam why he's doing this to her. He replies, "Like daddy, like daughter, your bait," and then puts a gag on her.
Yeah.
Pretty creepy. Dean then barges into the room, pointing his gun at Sam, who sounds and behaves like himself when he sees his brother. So he's suddenly like,
yeah. Then he turns and he's like, "You got to put me down, man. I can't stop it." Like,
that was one of those acting moments too that I was like, oh, that was really good. Like, you can definitely see it on his face. Like, that switch, you almost believe him for a second.
Yeah. Yeah. It feels just so out of character for me to be like, Jared's really holding it down this episode.
I know, this is so unlike us.
I feel bad because like he's a fine actor, but they just often don't give him much.
Also, he gets better throughout the series.
Yes, absolutely.
And Sam basically gets really pissed off and moves towards Dean and shouts like, "Are you that scared of being alone that you'd rather let Joe die?" Because he's basically saying like, "Kill me or I'll kill Joe."
Yeah.
Dean turns around and then throws holy water at Sam's face, which burns and smokes, showing Sam is possessed by a black-eyed demon.
Yeah.
So,
and he like, Sam leaves, runs away, and Joe says something like, "How did you know he was a demon?" And Dean is like, "I didn't, just a guess."
Yeah.
It's like,
that's a classic thing with this show where they're just like, just to be safe. Like,
yeah. I mean, honestly, though,
wouldn't you? It was a thing that always bothered me about the show Merlin, which I loved, but constantly, like, you would think that like they would have daily checks to make sure someone is the person that they say they are,
right?
Because like that show is constantly just someone pretending to be somebody or someone under a spell, like constantly like not being the person who they say they are. So it's like you would at a certain point you just start going like just checking. I've got a few questions.
I've said this on our comic book podcast, but like, how is there rule of law at a certain point in like some of these like things where you know that there are psychics and shapeshifters? I mean, obviously the broader world in Supernatural doesn't know that, but in some of these other ones where you just know shapeshifters and psychics exist, that is right away reasonable doubt.
Yeah.
You, like, literally can't convict anyone anymore.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I kind of loved, I know this is like way later on, but like when like the Men of Letters stuff is introduced and they have all of that stuff in place.
Yeah.
I think that's just so cool.
Yeah.
You know,
exactly.
and like you see them learning throughout the series, like, okay, this is something that we have to continue to do. This is something.
Yeah.
And we see it later on with the charms, you know,
Yeah.
eventually the tattoos happen. Like, so.
Yeah.
Totally.
This show is great about continuity and like learning from things.
Even just them finally getting over themselves and learning how to wear suits. So they don't just show up and be like, I don't know, we're Texas Rangers. I'm in jeans.
I'm a CIA agent, obviously. Yeah, that's a fair point. So now with smoke pouring out of his face, the demon runs and jumps out of the window. Dean quickly unties Joe and then runs to follow Sam into the storage docks next door.
Yeah.
Joe's still unsure of Sam's state. Calls after Dean. He was possessed? Completely unaware. Belaying her question, Dean jumps out in pursuit. Although they are not facing each other, they are still talking in the warehouse. So you can see basically it's a thing where they're looking for each other. They're talking, but
that's
you
a
don't
good
know.
like
I love
cat
that.
and mouse thing.
Yeah.
I like that one a lot.
Hitting the brothers against each other really like for the first time like this.
Yeah, I mean one of.
Yeah.
We haven't gotten very much.
They've
of
had
that.
like brother to brother fights before.
Yeah.
Brother on brother fights. But they have never had like this like after each other kind of thing, right?
Yeah, and like again, it's the psychological thing. Like the Sam demon is saying the salmon is saying you know, like Dean's like, why wouldn't you just kill me? You had lots of opportunities. Like, wow, what's the fun in that? And you know, like it's just like, I'm just toying with you, baby, but like now it's over.
Yeah.
It's good. I like it.
I know. The demon leads Dean into a trap on a dock outside of the back door. The demon shoots Dean on his left shoulder, causing him to fall off the dock into the water. The demon's standing at the edge of the dock with an evil smile on his face as he looks into the water. And Joe is walking down the dock looking for Dean. She calls his cell, but no answer.
Yeah.
She tries calling him one more time, and she hears the phone ringing in the water, which also, like, God, the way the phones used to be made, like the fact that it could fall into the water and it would be totally fine.
I gotta say, when I was rewatching this episode, I had it in my head that Dean getting shot was like a planned fake out. And then when she just finds him in the water, I was like, oh, Dean, come on, what are you doing, man? Like, you didn't.
Yeah, that doesn't happen to Dean Winchester. Come on.
I was convinced. I was like,
it was part of the plan.
Yeah, something. And then I was like, oh, no, you just got fucking shot.
Yeah.
Like,
also, it always makes me laugh. Like that dumb little ringtone that he has in the earlier season. Like the little rock guitar, right? And then I'm like thinking, they're constantly hunting monsters and stuff. Like, what if someone calls it, like they're hiding and someone calls them and it's like, Dean.
Yeah, put it on silent, man.
I also like the idea that he's like eating a burger like with one hand and it's like looking through like by downloading an MP3. And
do you think that Dean, this is a bit of a throwback thing. I don't know if you remember these or not, Laura, but you remember the ringback things where you could decide what song played instead of a ringtone for someone calling you?
Yes.
Yeah. I bet Dean had one of those.
Yeah. That's amazing.
He definitely did.
Yeah.
I just love the idea of him like going through the process like, oh yeah, this is the one. I do love that. That feels like a thing that Sam would do, maybe, but
I think Sam would set up his like MSN Messenger to show what song he was listening to.
Oh my God.
100%.
Be like, Iron and Wine again?
Coldplay, really? That's really funny. Joe asks him if how he knew Sam was possessed. Dean says that he just knew that it wasn't Sam. She then asks him if demons ever tell the truth, which you can tell now she's kind of like, oh shit, was like, what are you saying? Yeah,
it's like, because they play this way more seriously, but she's basically being like, can I fuck Dean? she's like,
that's very funny.
They're playing it more like emotional than that, but like, that's really what she's asking.
I figured she was asking about the dad thing.
No, she said because it was all about the Sam stuff. But
about what happened about their dad.
Oh, see, I went right to the stuff about what Sam was saying about how Dean views her. I didn't even think about her dad.
That's the thing with Dean and that's the thing with Dean and Joe, right? Like it was this relationship that totally could have been. I think Joe Harvell is so underappreciated. I love her to bits, and she's such a badass. She literally like pulls this bullet out of his arm, and she's like, "Stop being a baby." I'm like, "Yes, Joe, tell him." Like she's just so cool.
Well, yeah, because he calls her a butcher for like how she was like wiggling it out. Yeah,
I think that I don't think they ever should have been together. I think Joe's such an incredible character and deserves more in the show. I think she's too much like Dean to ever be with him.
That's fair.
Yeah,
but I do think that like, and I also think she just deserves to be a character that's not. I hate how much they're constantly like, but Dean, right? And it's like, no, she's got her own thing. Right?
I completely forgot that Sam said anything about her dad. I was just like. It's just like, really? Now you want to find out if you can shtup Dean?
That's really funny. No, he was asking about the dad stuff.
I mean, listen, my highest priority watching this show is getting Dean laid.
That's very funny. After she patches up Dean, tells her that the demon's going after hunters. And the closest one that he knows is in South Dakota. So we know who we're talking about here. Without question, Joe says she is going with him. Dean says that he can't put it any plainer except to say, you try to follow me, I'll tie you right back to the post and leave you here. And she's like, well, maybe that'll do. No.
Promise.
That was the fanfic again. Yeah.
Oh, God. Oh, yeah.
It's like, a good thing we aren't TV writers.
Oh, yeah. No, this is bad.
We would be writing like the unapologetically horny, like Bridgerton Outlander version of anything we wrote.
I mean, that would sell.
I think Dean and Sam should have gone back to Outlander times. Oh, I need someone to help grease me up. You lads over there.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you watch Bridgerton?
I did not. My wife watched it like 4 times.
It's very good.
It's great.
Yeah, it's very good. Did you hear the news about that the guy's not coming back in the second season?
Yeah, he's not.
Because it's supposed to be like an anthology series.
Yeah,
right?
he's not actually part of the like full series of the book anyways. Like he really was only from the first book, but
People are upset though.
yeah, rightfully.
I mean, they can
He's
find,
a snack.
but they can find other
Yes.
snacks. There are other snacks.
I know, but I really like that snack.
Jesus.
It's my favorite snack.
Yeah, it's good. It's like telling me I can't have chocolate pretzels anymore. It's like, no, but that's the one I want. I don't care if there's other stuff.
Right.
Yeah. Anyways.
So entitled.
As he walks out the door, she hands him some pills to help with his pain. Dean says thanks, and he will call her later. After the door
There
shuts,
was one little like diamond-shaped blue pill that she slipped him.
What?
Yikes.
Oh, just
Oh no!
Just making a Viagra
Oh,
joke.
okay, yeah, okay. I was wondering where that was going. But it's weird
because Joe wants to sleep. With
Yeah,
Dean.
no.
Yeah,
We get
okay,
it.
sorry.
I think it's. I think you're self-projecting a bit there.
I'm Joe.
After she shuts the door behind him, she mutters, "No, you won't," which is interesting. So maybe she was talking about that. Seems like that's all.
Poor Belle deserves better. She deserved better.
Right?
Stop.
100%.
Her and Ellen.
Yeah, 100%. And we can't get into sort of how their story ends because there might be some new listeners there, but it's very interesting because it actually is very cyclical if you look the way that their story ends.
Yeah.
Bobby's house. So we get to Bobby's. That's the person we know in South Dakota. It's Bobby. Sam arrives on Bobby's doorstep, and the first thing he does is cut the phone line so Dean can't reach him.
Yeah.
Crazy. He knocks on the door, and Bobby seems very happy to see Sam and invites him in for a beer.
I love Bobby.
Bobby is the best. This is really where you start seeing him. Now he's coming in more regularly.
Yeah, he's been in a few episodes this season.
Yeah, which is crazy to think that he was only really going to be in for one episode.
Yeah, wild. Well, because wasn't the original idea that
that Harvell's was going to be their base?
But even before that the psychic from the home episode was going to be like their third person.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And then she had like another gig or something.
Yeah.
So they had to like shift gears. But like that was the idea, right?
Yeah. It very interesting. Bobby put holy water in the beer because basically one sip of the beer, Sam falls to the ground coughing up smoke. Yeah. He delivers a knockout punch to the demon while it's on his knees. Sam / the demon wakes up to a slap from Dean tied to a chair under the devil's trap on the ceiling.
Bobby's got a couple of good lines in that scene.
Yes.
First of all, Bobby says, holy water in with the beer. Sam wouldn't notice, which I think is a little bit of a dig at Sam, where he's like, doesn't know his beer. Can't tell when it's watered down with Christ.
Yeah.
And then also he says, you can't con a con man.
Oh, yeah.
Before he knocks the salmon out.
Good one.
So good, yeah. Bobby then begins an incantation, and the demon initially appears to be affected. Dean begins to berating the demon about the bitch boy master plan you demons are cooking up.
Yeah, and he says, like, you're never getting Sammy. I'm going to kill every last one of you. Just like kind of big talk. It takes like multiple people to take down a demon at this point.
Demon, yeah. Declaring that, he'll never get Sam because he's going to destroy them all first. Suddenly, the demon lets out a maniacal laugh and declares, I don't give a rat's ass about the master plan. Because, I mean, clearly he doesn't, right? Like, even to what we've seen so far, Sam's an important piece. And he's been trying to get Sam killed this whole time. Yeah. Like, if he's an important piece of this, like, why are they trying to get Sam killed, right?
Yeah.
Like, clearly, this guy's gone rogue.
Yeah.
The demon begins incanting. The fireplace flares. It's a great effect.
Yeah, it's like a exorcism reversal.
Yeah. And it no longer seems to affected by this exorcism. Bobby discovers a symbol on Sam's right arm and recognizes it as a binding link.
Yeah, and Joe had noticed it earlier.
Yeah,
and it's the one weird acting moment out of Jared there where he's like, "Oh, had a run in with a hot oven."
Oh,
like he doesn't say it as Sam or as a demon. He's just kind of like, "Oops, oven." It's a weird line reading,
but we find out that this is basically a lock for the demon that traps himself inside of that body.
Yeah.
So you can't just like blow him out through exorcism.
You're reading my fanfic
The demon continues to incantate and until the ceiling starts cracking around the devil's trap.
Yeah,
so
breaks the devil's trap.
Very cool effect.
That was really cool.
Yeah, love that. The demon then launches Bobby and Dean into the opposite ends of the room. The demon approaches a dazed Dean and begins punching him repeatedly while describing that even for demons, hell is a prison made of bones, flesh, blood, and fear, and that Dean is the one that sent it back there.
Yeah, and then Dean goes, Meg.
Yeah. It's like, oh shit, now we know who this is.
And then Meg says, not anymore. Now I'm Sam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it basically is like, I crawled out of hell just so that I could torture you slowly.
Yeah.
Even more than he tortures himself.
Yeah. I love that like moment though. I think like, we obviously get further and more detailed depictions and descriptions of hell, but like, I really like that idea that like it's hell even for demons. Like, you said
that line specifically.
Yeah, it's not like damn it, I have to go home. It's like it's bad for everyone.
Yeah. It continues to verbally abuse him, declaring him the useless member of the family while crushing his injured shoulder with one hand. As the demon winds up to throw another brutal punch at Dean, Bobby comes up behind it with a red hot metal rod and burns a gap into the binding link in Sam's arm. Yeah. So the demon then immediately leaves Sam's body, and the demon, the black demon smoke goes basically on its way back to hell through the flames in the fireplace.
Does it?
Yeah.
I thought it just looked like it left like the house.
No, it goes like into the fireplace. Yeah. Sam and Dean are both on the floor, and Sam's
because they don't finish the exorcism. So does that mean that like the exorcism was done, and the only thing keeping the demon in was the binding spell? And as soon as that was broken, then the demon like spilled out, like shaking like a pop, like
and that's interesting. The binding link. The binding link is such a cool like mechanism, and I don't think we see that before or after this episode. No. Right?
I don't think so. You're right.
Do we see it after?
Not that I know of.
I just thought it was a really cool mechanism because to be able to trap a demon like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very cool idea. Because I know that they trap demons inside bodies and stuff with spells, but I don't think they use that binding link again.
Not that he would do this with Sam, of course, because it's the point of the whole episode. But if there was like a binding link on someone and then you just killed the person, is the demon just stuck in that corpse?
Oh, yikes. Maybe. Whoa. Wow.
Let's test it out. Oh my God. You offered up your arm so quickly.
Sam and Dean are both now on the floor, and Sam just asks, did I miss anything? Which then Dean just hits him. Jensen Ackles apparently improvised this, and as it was not in the shooting script, the punching part. Also, small thing here, but before he hits, his face is all bloody, but then after he hits Sam and falls back down to the floor, his face doesn't have any blood on it at all.
Sure. Yeah.
Fun note. As Sam and Dean are sitting in the room recovering from the battle, Bobby informs them that Steve Wandell was found murdered in his house. So this is the hunter that they'd seen getting his throat slit.
Yeah. And Bobby is saying like, you know anything about that? And they go, no. And he goes, that's good.
Keep it that way.
Keep it that way. Like,
that's right.
Bobby knows what's up, but he's like, listen, like hunters aren't going to slow down to be understanding or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like just...
Basically, you just need to like shut your mouth and get out of here.
Yeah.
Dean rises and says they better hit the road. As they're walking out, Bobby hands them both charms that fend off possession.
Yeah.
So that the demon can't get inside them again. So this is our first sort of thing. Is like, hey, we need to start developing stuff so this shit doesn't continue to keep happening.
Yeah.
So we start with the charms. But
they're leveling up their armor.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, that's
so
good.
Cool.
That's like the D&D game, right?
Yep. There you go.
That rules.
This is like a +3 constitution sort of thing.
Yeah. You can take Metamucil for that.
Metamucil, and I'm the old one. Jesus Christ.
As the boys are driving down the road, Sam tells Dean that he was awake for some of it. He saw Steve die and was confused why Dean would not kill him, even when he almost killed Joe.
Yeah.
Dean tells Sam that he told John that he might have to kill him only if he could save him.
Well, it couldn't.
Or if he couldn't save him. Only if you could save him, then you get to
kill him if you can save him.
Dean says if it's the last thing he does, he's going to save him. Final sort of button on this whole thing that I was doing the math as I was watching, but Sam and Dean are in Duluth, Minnesota, which is 9.5 hours away from the South Dakota border. Yet they both managed to get to South Dakota hours before dawn, even though Sam arrived at the bar at closing, which is around 2:30 a.m. There's no indication that more than a few hours have passed.
Right.
So if Jensen's traveling 4.5 miles.
Yeah, that's what this feels like. Yeah. Right. So they got there too quickly.
Yeah. Just a small note that I noticed.
But what about like the power of love? Does that help?
Oh, never mind. Yeah. Scrap this whole thing. Let's go to that other script if we want to talk about that. That was the episode. Let's talk about what we thought about it. Obviously, we try to review based on the actual sort of season that we're in, because if you start comparing season 2 to season 5, it's probably an unfair thing. But Laura, you're our guest. To maybe give us a little bit of information about what you thought about this episode in general, and then maybe like a review out of 5.
Okay. Well, I love season 2 overall.
You said, yeah. I remember I asked you about what you wanted to do, and you were like, "Oh, I love season 2," and I was like, "Wow, that
works out."
Yeah, that
yeah. Well, because I really feel like season 2 starts a lot of the world building, right?
Yeah.
The first season focuses on the boys and their relationship, and season 2 you really start to see, like in this episode, we saw there's other hunters, and other hunters look out for other hunters, and we get introduced more to Bobby and the Harvells and all that was in this episode too. So the world building and the relationships with other characters that aren't just Sam and Dean is just really why I love season 2. But this episode overall, I guess Jo was a highlight for me. I love her. She's one of my favorite characters.
Yeah.
Bobby too. And I really like that there's more demon lore introduced as well. And seeing an exorcism is always cool, or an attempted one, I guess, in this case, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I guess a rating for this episode, I would maybe say I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5 because it's got a little bit of everything.
Yeah. That's a solid rating.
A very, very solid score.
What about you?
Okay. Like I said, I think Jared's doing some good work in this
solid
episode.
Jared acting.
This is a very good Jared episode, which is nice. A, that they give him some different stuff to do, and B, that he's knocking it out of the park.
Yeah,
love that. I do agree. Like this is like a lore heavy episode, and I do like that. The binding spell. We get another devil's trap. Yeah. We get an exorcism. Meg talks about what hell is like even for demons. Yeah. We're talking about charms and stuff at the end. Like there's a lot of things happening in there. Even like when they look at the videotape at first, and Dean's like shapeshifter, and then Sam's like, there was no like eye flare. There's like we're coming back to all of this like lore stuff, which is obviously where I live. I love that kind of stuff. And like the action's good.
Yeah.
I love that like cat and mouse thing in like the boat launch or whatever. Like I like that. I like the super creepy scene with Sam and Jo. Like there's a lot of tension. There's a lot of
creepy, sexy,
depending on how you're watching it. Yeah. I think this is actually a really good. I'm gonna give this 4.5 tightly gripped wrists.
That's good. Yeah. I mean, I don't feel that differently. I think this is one that I definitely liked more the first watch of it. I feel like when you're rewatching it, you're like, oh yeah, Sam's acting like something's wrong again. But it's it's a different way, I think, than what you see sort of as the series goes on.
But even just that flip that we talked about, where something is up with Sam, and then Dean comes in and he flips back, and you go like, oh shit, am I wrong? Like, I think even when you know what's coming, there's something fun about how they mess with you.
They do a great job of making you uncertain, especially the first watch, right? Because you're just like, oh, did he go bad finally?
Yeah.
And then you actually see him do a murder, and you're like, well, it makes sense. Like there was this gap in time, so maybe it actually, like, they do a good job of making you uncertain of how it's going to go.
For sure.
So I definitely appreciate a lot of this stuff. Some really great sort of Joe work in there. I wish they wouldn't focus so much on just sort of like her feelings about Dean.
Yeah.
I just feel like she deserves a bit more than that. But I do like that she's prevalent in this.
Yes.
I like seeing Harvell's with people in it for once. That's a new one. Like, because he goes there and there's actually other people there, aren't there? Like,
yeah. We're not just showing up at opening or closing, like
usually
in some other episodes.
Yeah. So I do like that a lot. And we get sort of like the brothers against each other in a completely different way, which I mean, they find a lot of different ways to send them against each other. But this is sort of like one of the first times that it's sort of this. The brothers are like fighting each other, but they're it's not Sam. Like, it's a different way than what we've seen, rather than just like brothers being brothers kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So I appreciate that as well. I would say that I would give this 3.75 ringbacks.
3.75.
Yeah, a little bit lower
That's
for me.
weirdly low.
This is not like one that it's not one of my favorites, but it's one that I definitely like appreciate when I watch it. And there's nothing wrong with it. I think there's just, when I compare it against some of the other stuff that we're going to get to, it just doesn't rank that high for me, but it's good. Like, it's not bad. Like, it does what it's intending to do and a bit more. So
fair enough.
I definitely like it a lot.
Right on.
Laura, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Of course. Thank you for having me. I had a great time. This was so fun.
Awesome. You've got some incredible content online. Maybe if you could just promote some of the places where people can find you and things that you've got going on, I'd love to be able to send people in your way.
Sure. So on TikTok, I'm at Laura Leviosa. Leviosa, like in Harry Potter.
Hell yeah. It's Leviosa, actually. Come on.
Leviosa. Not Leviosa.
Thank you.
And on Instagram, I'm at Laura Bolt. So.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Great, solid follows. Those friggin' I mean, the sea shanties are incredible, but you also just like have a ton of other really cool TikTok content as well. I really like that Belle video. Like, there's some really great stuff on there.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I do a little bit of cosplay, a lot of supernatural, some singing. Like I said, my background's in musical theater, so there's a little acting, a little singing, a little cosplay, a little bit of everything, lots of nerdy stuff. So if you're into that kind of thing, you know, that's what I got.
Our fan base 100% would be.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. The Ghostfacers fans definitely. Well, that is it for this week. If you have a note about maybe this episode, something we've missed, or a past or future one, or you just want to talk to us online about Supernatural, you can reach out to us through our email,
ghostfacerspodcast@gmail.com.
And we're having a ton of fun talking about Supernatural on social media.
Yeah, at Ghostfacerspod on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
We need to get a TikTok. That's what it is.
You can run the TikTok.
Hell yeah.
I can't.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna do some
huge props to everyone that's making it work on TikTok, but I'm too old and I can't.
Oh yeah, I'm all about it now. I'm gonna be a TikTok star.
Yeah. Just in time for it to just be only people our age on TikTok. You'll miss like,
oh no, is that a hard?
Whatever the next young thing is.
No, I'm on Fleazel.
Oh no, Fleazel?
Yeah, you're not on Fleazel. It's where you make videos.
Okay. This is all good content.
Yeah. Speaking of good content, if you want even more from us, we have another podcast.
Yeah, if you liked that long pause, go over to the Dr. DC podcast. We talk about DC Comics. We answer listener questions. You don't need to know anything. It's just a ton of fun geeking out over other like deep lore, you know. So if you enjoy the magic and supernatural stuff, there's lots of that in comic books too. Plus all the fun capes and tights stuff.
That's right. Say goodbye, bitch. Jerk. This was a Brain Freeze podcast.